Hello, YouTube. I'm just waiting for my TikTok audience to show up. So should be here in a minute. Time is at 4:30 here, Vancouver. Hello, Ava. Ava. Okay, we're just waiting for people to turn up before I get going. I'm going to have a sip of my kombucha. Boy, that was loud. I'm just waiting for people to turn up. Okay. So I'm just reading all your names. Okay, so where are you from and how old are your kids? I'm here in Vancouver, Canada. My kids are 33 and 28. Hi, I am. So where are you from and how old are your kids? Buffalo, 3.5. Buffalo. Have you been here before? I don't remember anyone from Buffalo joining. Buffalo. Have you been here before? Kelsey. I'm just curious. I usually remember. Oh, maybe about a year ago. I'm the stalker. Oh, I think I have a few of those, evidently. Oh, I got some really strange messages, I'll tell you. Delete. Anyway. 11, 8, and 3 from California. Welcome, Natasha. Okay. Yeah, I get some really weird messages. I won't tell you about them, but yeah. When you're online, right, you get some real weird stuff. It's quite funny. I get a lot from men. I'll tell you one funny one. Anyway, just a sec here. 15 months isn't talking. Oh, we'll get into all that. 7-4 Canada. What part of Canada? I'm here in Canada. I'm in Vancouver. Back from Victoria, your neighbor. Hi, Jess. Is that normal, Ashley? I'll just answer it quickly. Completely normal. They're not. Sometimes they're 2 or 3 before they even want to talk. Toronto. Oh, excellent. Toronto. Okay. I get a lot of messages from men who have no pictures or anything. And they just say, hi, you want to go out with me? Oh, yes. It's not quite what they say. It gets a little bit raunchier than that, but it just strikes me as so funny. Yes. I think that's, what do they call that? Catfishing or scamming? I think that's what, I don't know. I just delete them all. Okay, so let's get going now. By the way, I'm Lisa. I'm a parenting coach. I'm here in Vancouver, Canada. And what was I going to say? Oh, yeah. If you go in the link above, you can see everything I've got to offer. Well, in my business. You can download my free behavior board, buy one of my courses, or hire me for coaching. Actually, I thought that was kind of funny. Everything I've got to offer, well, in my business. I swear to God, it's just kombucha. It's not beer. No alcohol in me. I'm just a little bit punchy today. I don't know why. Oh, I helped my son's moving, and I was over there cleaning yesterday, so I inhaled a lot of bleach. So maybe that's what's wrong with me. Okay, so let's get going with your parenting questions. I'm just going to mention something. By the way, if you have sent me a really beautiful email, you know who you are. Someone who sent me something, just one of my clients. I haven't answered because I found it very emotional. I opened the email up at the gym. I get some beautiful emails from people. And I opened it up at the gym, and yeah, and I'm standing at the gym like this. It was so beautiful. So if you're on here, I'm not ignoring you. I just am recovering. I want to think of what to say. I'll be talking to you soon anyway. Okay, you've helped me so much. Excellent. That's why I'm here. And, you know, I can be quite rough with people sometimes, but I am here to tell you what I think you need to hear. I'm not here to be liked. I'm not here to be tactful. I'm really here to make a difference, because I think that the pleaser style parent that's so trendy right now is a total disaster. You're raising self-entitled snowflakes with mental health issues. It scares the bejeebies out of me. I've been watching this evolve for 30 years, and I've seen the results of it now. It's exactly what I said was going to happen. Yeah, you've got to raise tough individuals, right? You want your home life to be wonderful, but don't expect the world to treat them like snowflakes, because when you set them up like that, treat them like they should be entitled, but everywhere they go, you're not doing them any favors. So I've turned my alarm off. Why didn't I do that before? I had to turn my alarm off. I've got a meeting to go to. It's been raining out too. Yeah. Entitled parenting style has been going on for at least 20 years. It's been going on for about 30. I remember when it first started coming in, I saw it happening with the participation awards. And I remember thinking, what? Are you kidding me? They get an award just for turning up, and they also get an award even if they don't turn up. I know I read stories where some of the moms complained that their child didn't get a participation award. And then the coach would say they didn't even turn up to the game. Well, they still should get an award. Oh my God, what are you doing to your children? It's borderline abusive. It's just so stupid. Anyway, that's where it started. And I remember watching that and I thought, oh my God, what the hell's going on here? It's just so stupid. My sons are amazing, and I hate the word snowflake. I throw that out there a lot. I'll still keep saying it, you know. Okay, so parenting questions. By the way, while we're waiting, I'm just going to mention something someone said. They said, "Is a warning okay?" Oh, like, let's say they do something bad, and then you say, "If you do that again, you're going to get," if they already know it's bad, 99.99999% of the time they know it's bad, right? So I don't give warnings because that's like the countdown method. If they hit someone, there should be a consequence for that hit, not for the next one. So what you're teaching them is it's okay to hit once. It's okay to punch someone in the head once, but not again. Like it's a fear-based parenting method. It's because you don't really want to have to deal with it. You don't want to upset them. Heaven forbid, upset your children, and teach them right from wrong. So that's the warning. That it's exact same as the countdown method. I'm going to count to 3 and you better stop. It's just a little bit quicker. If you do that again, it's the exact same thing. Oh, how do I tell if my son is being a brat or artistic? Well, I don't really like the word brat. I know it's in my title, but I don't like it. Waiting for autism testing. Yeah, I don't know what to tell you. If you're a leader, and then your child should be very respectful. So what type of parent are you? That's how you can tell. If I couldn't get respect from a kid, well, I've only met one kid I couldn't, and that she had I always say I'm not going to mention her again, but it was just so heartbreaking. She was really little and she scared the heck out of me. She had a pencil in her hand and she barely said a word for the whole hour I worked with her. I swear that thing was going to go in my eyeball. I was terrified. Anyway, she ended up being institutionalized. She was something psychopath, a criminal. She didn't commit any crimes, but she probably would have. She was frightening. But every other kid I've been able to get respect from. Autism's different. I don't include that in that respect thing because yeah, it depends on where they are in the spectrum. Anyway, autism I don't discuss on here. That's for coaching only. So if you're interested in working with me, I can't assess autism, by the way. I can just set you up as a leader. And whether or not your child has autism or not, you still want to be a leader for your children, right? Okay. What's a great consequence for a toddler 2 years that hits you? I don't do consequences with toddlers under the age of 3. It's consistent corrective actions. So when they hit, you say no, and you maybe take a toy away or remove yourself. So you say no, grab their hand that they hit with, and you just say no, and then you remove them from the fun, or you just get up and leave the room or something. So it's a removal thing, like it's a consistent corrective action. But the word consistent is really important. If you do that 9 times out of 10, they'll remember the one time you didn't. They just do. They remember when they won. In other words, they remember their wins, not their losses. So, geez, that's a good way of putting it. Just a minute. I'm going to write that down. They remember their wins and your losses, not the other way around. So true. So true. What are your thoughts on timeout? You must be brand new. I hate timeout. I can't stand it. I think it's mean. You go over there, you're not even worth dealing with. Go sit in a corner and think about what you did. I think it's mean. I don't like it. I find it humiliating. Think of if you did something wrong at work and your boss put you in a corner. It's the same thing. It's the exact same feeling. Just because you're an adult, it's the exact same feeling. I don't do that. I would never use timeout. Okay, how to make my 4-year-old listen to me? Check out my boot camp course. You set yourself up as a leader. We're never fixing kids. He's not listening. It's not his fault. It's you. You're not a leader. They listen to leaders. They don't listen to non-leaders. That's the way it is. So work on yourself. Okay. Yeah, you're new. Yeah. I hate timeout. I'm surprised other people didn't go, she hates it. She hates it. She hates it. Yeah, because I talk about it all the time. There's 3 things I hate. Did I write them down? I know them anyway. I'm always looking for my notes. I know them. I know it all anyway. Anyway, three things I really hate. And the least one is timeout. I hate it the least out of these three really common discipline methods, especially with young children. Number three is timeout. I think it's humiliating and mean. Number two is a diversion. So let's say they're doing something bad and you divert them with a toy or something fun. They've just learned if I hit someone, I get a toy. That's what you've just taught them. Because you never divert with broccoli. It's always like with something fun, right? So I don't like diversion. The absolute worst one is the countdown method. If they're hitting someone, I'm going to count to three and you better stop. And they keep hitting harder and harder and harder. And then you go to three and they stop, they break. Where's the consequence? Where's the consequence for those 50 hits they just got in? Nothing. It's fear-based parenting because you don't really want to have to deal with it. So you're just going to count and hope they stop, right? Anyway, so that's the absolute worst. Any advice for yelling at my toddler? You only yell because you don't know what else to do. I would say, well, how many? I don't know. Most of my clients yell. What do you suggest I used? I said timeout. What do you suggest I replace the timeout with? Just keep watching everything else. Little ones under the age of 3 are consistent corrective actions because they learn through repetition. It's actions, not words. These mini therapy sessions discussing all their feelings and big emotions and all, it's just garbage. That was invented for the mom. It makes her feel good. Does nothing for the child. It's all mom. It's egocentric. It's very much for the mom. Has nothing to do with the toddler. They are consistent corrective actions. So if they do something, you say no, and then you push and you take a toy away or whatever. Make sure there's a negative action to their negative behavior. They will eventually learn, okay? But it's not words. Yeah, these mini therapy sessions. That's my nemesis in my business. It brings a lot of business to me though, because down the road that backfires big time. It's not setting you up as a leader. It's a very wishy-washy, pathetic way of parenting. And I get those people as clients down the road. So it's very good for my business, but I'll be honest, I'd rather not get that business and you not have to go through that, what you're building through that. Yeah, yelling. You're only yelling because you don't know what else to do. So just keep watching. If you're yelling, under the age of 3, it's consistent corrective actions. 3 and over, use my behavior board. I also have, it's free above in the link. If you go to the link, everything I have is up there. And then you can also buy I also have a whole bunch of little toddler courses. By the way, my bedtime battles course, I got it done. It's all done. Make sure you get on the newsletter. It goes on, it's only for the people on the newsletter. If you downloaded the behavior board, go to that newsletter and it's on the link above, and it's a 24-hour sale when I first launch it. It launches tomorrow morning at 7 a.m. Vancouver time. I did it. I got it done. I won't go in. Well, yeah, I'll tell you why I had such a hard time doing it. I didn't like the way I did it. I did that bedtime battles course years ago. Never put it out there. I never liked it. And then I figured out what I didn't like about it. I cut it in 2 parts. It's 2 parts. It's like how to get them to bed and then how to keep them there. Some people only struggle with one, or some struggle with both. So I don't know why I didn't figure that out. I just got annoyed with it and I just kept putting it aside. Anyway, it launches tomorrow. Make sure you sign up for the behavior board above if you want in on that launch sale. And the newsletter has tons of stuff coming out all the time that you don't get on here or wherever. Anyway, that's that. Give us examples for the behavior board. God. It's really hard. Every time someone asks me something so broad, I get a million things flying into my head. Okay, a good example. This is a really successful one that my clients love. They say, gee, that one works well. Let's say you have an 8-year-old and a 6-year-old. Your 8-year-old hits the 6-year-old. You say to the 8-year-old, the rule is on the behavior board, your rule is no hitting your little brother. And if you hit your little brother, the consequence is he gets to play with your favorite toy for an hour or whatever. And so that's his consequence. That one works, I'll tell you. They hate that one. So, but you did something mean to your little brother. Now you have to do something nice by letting him play with your favorite toy, right? So that's one of the best ones out there. You're on that behavior board too, by the way. If you're not accountable, you're not a leader. You're an authority. I don't like authority. I don't do authority style parenting. It's not horrible. It's old fashioned. It's my way or the highway. I don't like that. I want to be accountable too, because they are learning through watching you. They are not listening to you nearly as much as they're watching you. So if they see you being accountable for your mistakes and it's just, they're going to be accountable too. It's just the way it works. They are watching you. Some big scientist out there just did put something out there about the formative years of the first 7 years. And he said, very little of that is words. It's all actions. They're watching you. It's all done through them. It's all done through observations, was what he said. I've been saying that forever. They're not listening to you. They're watching you. That's why these mini therapy sessions with toddlers are absolute garbage. They're made to feed the mother and make her feel good about herself. They're not for the toddler at all. I know they're trendy. I know they're trendy. They're out there right now. They're a disaster. Okay. But he's also full of love and kindness. Oh, you're complaining about your kid, and now you're telling me how wonderful he is. Everyone does this. They say, oh my God, he's just rotten. He does this, but he's very sweet. Yeah, I know they're all lovely, but they often do rotten things. Doesn't mean they're rotten. You want to separate the behavior from the child. That's why when I'm disciplining a kid, I will actually say, well, that was rotten. Here's your consequence. Do you want to go to the park? And then I'm right back to bonding with the kid, the good kid, but I deal with the bad behavior. Bad behavior, I keep very separate from the child's identity. Yeah, that was rotten. Oh, well, I do rotten things sometimes too. Here's the consequence. Like I'm accountable too, right? They learn. Like if a teenager or whatever does something stupid, I'll just say, yeah, that was stupid. Wait to hear what I did when I was your age. Like you want to be relatable. You want to show that it's okay to make mistakes and do rotten things sometimes, right? But you got to be accountable. You got to make up for it and learn and not keep doing it. Okay, I'm going to count to 5. Okay, it's been working for my tongue. It's kind of like yelling. It's kind of like timeout. It's kind of like diversion. They're temporary fixes that bite you in the bum down the road. It's just the way it is. I won't go on about it, but I've been doing this for 51 years, so yeah. Just subscribe to the behavior board. Excellent. Welcome to the behavior board. Oh, geez, my neck. I just did something to myself. I was cleaning at my son's my son's new home yesterday. He's moving and he's got a new baby coming. So, but yeah, I was cleaning and I was on the floor scrubbing like a chambermaid. I just felt like I should have been wearing a scarf around my head and an apron. I was just scrubbing in a squat position in the shower with bleach. I could taste bleach for like all throughout the night. I kept waking up tasting bleach. I never used bleach, but it's a new home. Well, not brand new. I mean, because you're cleaning up after other people, right? So it was funny. I thought probably shouldn't have used all that bleach, should I? Okay, toddler told me someone is hitting her at school. That's usually up. You can tell the daycare people or whatever. It's the school. If she's a toddler, she's at daycare, right? So just tell them and ask them about it. She said that she's being hit. That you know what they often say? Well, she's the one who was hitting. They often, I'm not saying that's what's happened, but I've just been doing this for so many years, especially with little ones, because they get caught for hitting. They get called out for it. They get in trouble at school. They don't like it. So they're afraid that you're going to hear about it. So they go home and blame the other kid. I may be wrong, but it happens more often than you would think. Because I often ask the parents, you might want to ask the teacher about that and see what they say. What's a good sample of a parent being accountable? Oh, I could use a million of my examples. I never yelled or anything like that. My kids are really respectful. Well, I've been doing this forever. I worked with hundreds of kids before I even had my own. So they didn't stand a chance of ever getting one over on me. Anyway, I remember once, it's a funny story. My son was 8 years old and PlayStation was new. And we just got a new PlayStation and he had a memory card and he had this racing game. He just loved this racing game. He had gone up so many levels over a period of weeks. Now, we also had bought Crash Bandicoot. I love that. I'm like really dorky with that. I'm on level 2, it was really bad. Anyway, so my son had gone to bed. My husband at the time and I were up playing Crash Bandicoot. So and before my husband went on, I said, I'm just going to save this first. And I went and I saved it, my level. And he said, you know what you just did? And I said, what? And he said, you just saved over his game. And I said, no, I didn't. And he goes, find it. Looking, I had saved over my son's game. He'd worked for weeks to get up to this level. I was like, oh my God, I couldn't believe I did that. So I just had to go to bed and I was thinking about it all night. And I woke up in the morning and I heard my son starting to wake up. So I go in his room and it's Sunday morning and I say, sweetie, I have something to tell you. And he goes, what? And I said, okay, you know that memory card that we have? It just felt awful. You know that memory card? And he's like, yeah. And I said, okay, I saved my Crash Bandicoot level over your game. And he goes like that and he starts to cry. And I said, but I'm going to buy you a brand new PlayStation game to make up for it. And he, oh, so we got a brand new PlayStation game out of that. It cost me a lot of money, but it was worth it. Anyway, the funny thing is, then we got another we got another memory card just for me because I'm so stupid with stuff like that. So I wasn't allowed to touch anyone else's memory card. And he kept trying to slip his in so I'd save over his game again. So he'd get another PlayStation. It got to be a joke in the family. And what else is I going to say about that? Something else. Anyway, the funny part is that morning when he got up, he went on the PlayStation game and he got right up to the level he was at in like an hour because he was so good at it at that time. So it was no big deal anyway. But there's a very good example of me being accountable. And I own it, I'll tell you. There's 4 ways to apologize and to be accountable. Here's what you do. To apologize, let's say you've done something to someone. You say, I'm sorry. Number 1, say you're sorry. Number 2, say it was all my fault. Don't make excuses. Don't blame them. I wouldn't have done that if you hadn't done that. You know how some people do those backhanded apologies and you're like, was that really an apology? Anyways, that's number 2, or step number 2. Number 3 is make amends. Say, what can I do to make it up to you? Or do something to make it up to them. And then number 4 is don't keep doing it again. You know, my son would have been thrilled. He would have gotten tons of PlayStation games. But overall, so it's 4 steps. Say you're sorry. Be accountable for it. Number 3 is make amends. And number 4 is don't keep doing it. That's how you apologize. Adults can learn that too. I'm really good at apologizing. My son used to say, that's because you've had so much practice. He's very funny. Okay. Does it work with daughter and mom yelling behavior board? You never put down attitude with the kids. You would never say to a child, no yelling, ever. It's ridiculous. Don't say that. You never put attitude. You're expecting them to control that. You're the adult. You control your emotions. That's basically asking them to control their own emotions. It's an unreasonable expectations, especially of teenagers. So you never put that down. Never put attitude for the child, ever. You put actions for the child, like put your dirty clothes in the hamper or put your dirty dishes in the dishwasher when you're finished, stuff like that. Or stop hitting your little brother. It's stuff like that. And if it's something violent, you always start with that. But if you're really struggling and you've got a teenager, you got to hire me. That's coaching because you don't start with the big stuff. And even then it's quite different with teenagers. That's 13 and above. My boot camp course, pardon me. My boot camp course is in the link above. And that is for 3 to 12-year-olds. Things really shift and change when they're 13 plus. I'll tell you my 3 top tips for parenting teens. It's a mouthful. Just say I'm going to have some more kombucha. My voice is going. Actually, teens are my favorite age. I started my business doing teen crisis work, and they're my favorite age. They're the most challenging if you don't know how to deal with them. If you do, they're not. Anyway, so here's my top 3 tips for parenting teenagers. Number 1 is you listen to understand and show empathy. You do not listen to gather information to lecture with. You listen to understand and show empathy, then you stop talking. If they want your advice, they're going to ask for it. They already know it anyway, okay? They'll tell you everything. When you get good at listening, they'll tell you everything. Okay, number 2 is you negotiate pretty much everything. Hey, you're going to a party tonight? I want you home at 12. How about mom? How about 1? They might say, how about 1? Say, okay, you want to make it 12:30, split the difference? Negotiate pretty much everything. You got to give them some control. And that sort of goes into the 3rd step. Don't sweat the small stuff. Is a half hour a big stuff or a small stuff? Save your energy for the big stuff. You'll need it. Okay. So don't waste your energy on the small stuff. So there's my top 3 tips for parenting teenagers. They're my favorite age because when you get that mutual respect going, they're easy. Yeah. When you don't have it, it's a nightmare. It could not be more different. Yeah. Anyway, I used to mentor troubled teens, and they're the ones who told me to start this business. They said, you have to teach this, Lisa, you're different. And I said, oh, okay. Anyway, I didn't right away. It took me years. But anyway, teenagers are great. Once you understand them, they're great. Gaslit apologies of the worst. I'm never really sure what gaslighting is. Isn't that just being phony and playing games and manipulating? Isn't that what gaslighting is? I'm never really sure. Every time I hear that word, oh, you're being gaslit. Because I hear so many different definitions of it. Yeah, gaslighting. I'm really sorry that happened. But, when you said that, I had to react. Or there's this saying that everything you've said before the word but is meaningless. I'm really sorry about that, but. I don't know. Oh yeah, gaslighting is when they blame you for your reaction and then their bad behavior. That's like when someone does something wrong. I have a real pet peeve with this. So someone does something wrong to you and then they say sorry and then you're still upset with them And then they say, you're not very forgiving, like as if they turn it right around on you. And my response is always, you hurt my feelings. I'm allowed to be upset. The one word sorry doesn't make up for what you said or did to me. I'm allowed to be upset for a while. They say one word, sorry, said I was sorry. The word sorry is so overused. It's just garbage. It's only a preface for what's coming afterwards. It's like it's opening the door. Sorry, and then you get into the real apology, which is it was all my fault. What can I do to make it up to you? And it's not going to happen again, right? So that it's just a preface. People just stop there. Sorry, and then no matter what they do, I killed your whole family. Sorry, you're not very forgiving. It's just one word. And in court now, it's interesting because it's so overused. In court, they actually, let's say someone's committed a horrible crime against your family and you go in there and then the criminal gets up and you say, he didn't even say he was sorry. Does it matter? Like the word sorry, what does it mean? It's overused. It's just ridiculous. Anyway, that's just my opinion. Thank God someone said it. Said what? Okay. What advice would you give to help with a toddler 3-year-old to listen? There again, you're talking about the toddler having a problem. It's you. We're never fixing kids. We're teaching and fixing parents here. If you're a leader, they listen. If you're not a leader, they're going to tune you out. Work on yourself. It's all about leadership. I've worked with hundreds of kids, never had a problem. I always knew how to get respect because that's why I teach this. It was just I was just kind of born to do this. I was volunteering in daycare centers when I was 11 years old. And they used to say to me, how do you do that? You're fun, yet the kids listen to you. And I didn't know how to explain that, but I was a leader. I lead with fun, but I don't take any crap. But I lead with fun. And I'm always focused on the good kid, but I do not ignore the bad behavior. I deal with it, but then I focus on the good kid again. So work on your leadership skills. I have a full course that teaches you how to be a leader in 5 weeks. It's my boot camp. It's up in the link above if you're interested. 3 to 12-year-olds. Teaches you how to be a leader. It's all you. I love it when I get clients now who when I do the questionnaire after they've hired, because you go on, you sign up for coaching, then I send you a questionnaire. And then they'll put in the very bottom, and I'll say, what do you want from me? And they'll say, I know it's all me. I want to set myself up as a leader. And I'm like, whew, that's half the battle. If they say my kids are doing this, they're doing that, they're doing that. And I'm like, well, yeah, it's not about the kids. It's about you. Okay. And that's good. But you can only change yourself anyway. And plus your children's behavior is 100% a direct result of your parenting. 100%. Until they're teenagers, they're going to be more influenced by other people. But if you've been a leader leading up to the teen years, even then, it's going to be easy. But yeah, their behavior is 100% a direct result of your parenting, of your leadership or your lack of it. So if they're acting out, like when I was working with kids, I was mentoring troubled teens. If they ever acted out or did something, and I only worked with them for like an hour a week, I'd always go, what am I missing? What am I doing wrong here? I always blame myself. Why would I blame them? It doesn't make any sense to me. Why? I always blame myself. I'm not leading well enough. I'm not a good enough mentor. So I got to work on that. I got to work on myself. It's not beer, it's kombucha. It's very sour. Okay. Okay, 3.5-year-old toddler. Well, under 3 is to me a toddler. 3 and 4 is a preschooler to me, and then 5 and 8 is a child. 9 to 12 is a tween. 13 and up is a teenager. That's just my own way of doing it. So yeah, 3.5-year-old. So a 3.5-year-old kid, how do you handle example? Tantrums. I've got tons of videos on those, and read the comments. They're a lot of fun. So you completely ignore tantrums, and I'll give you a very good example of why. My favorite story for explaining a good way to handle a tantrum and a bad way to handle a tantrum. True story. My son was 2 years old and I took him to the park, and there was another mom there with her 2-year-old boy. There was 2 swings, 2 moms, 2 2-year-old boys. Anyway, so I didn't know her. We're just meeting. She was new in the neighborhood. So we're like, hi, how are you? Anyways, doing all that. We're putting our little boys in the swings, and they both at the exact same time pointed to the other swing. A little bit of that why, they wanted the other swing. And we're like, let's just change. Like, who cares? Let's just switch swings. So we went to switch them as we're trying to still talk, and they both started having a tantrum right away. This is what I did. I took my son over to a bench and he went to run back to the swing. I put my arm out to prevent him from running. He sat back because he knows me. When I say something or when I do something, I mean business. So I put my arm out and he just sat back and continued to have a tantrum. Lasted for about, now I'm ignoring him while he's doing this. He's crying and all that. I'm ignoring him. And I'm looking at the birds in the trees. I'm looking at my nails. I couldn't be less interested in what he's doing. I'm just waiting. You don't get up and walk away. You just make sure that they know you're waiting. Make it look like you're in a waiting room. You're just waiting for that to stop. I ignore the crazy and I reward the calm, because as soon as he stops having a tantrum, I say, oh, you all done? Let's go back on the swing. I ignore the crazy, reward the calm. They lean into what gets rewards. They lean into what get what they want. So they learn that, wait a minute, he was 2 years old. He knew me. He knew that maybe if I shut up, maybe I might get back on that swing. It wasn't always that easy, but that time it was. So he goes back on the swing, having a riot. On the other bench, that mom was talking to her kid the whole time. Now, you shouldn't have done that. If you give mommy a hug, give mommy a hug. I know you're upset. I know you're angry. Mommy loves you. Oh my God. She was feeding it. This kid was just 20 minutes. He screamed. Anyway, and he's getting violent with her. No, mommy love, don't hit mommy. And you could see she was getting upset. She was getting embarrassed. And I was like, oh my God. Anyway, but I had tons of experience with kids before I had my own. So it was easier for me. I wasn't judging her. It was just agony to watch, because I don't give advice unless someone asks me, right? But she was watching what I did, but she didn't think to do it. Anyway, so 20 minutes later, her kid starts the hiccup cries. His tantrum is over. He's doing this. He's finished, right? You know what she did? For another 10 minutes, she gave him a therapy session. Now, if you just ask nicely and he's looking at her like this, he's so traumatized. It was 30 minutes of sheer hell while my kid is swinging. And then finally, I guess I had to leave. My kid was tired of swinging. So we went home and I guess she put him back on the swing. But what a disaster, eh? That's the difference. You ignore the crazy, reward the calm. She was rewarding the crazy. And even when he calmed down, then she was punishing him. Right? You get it? You get it? If ignoring, now, was I ignoring my son's feelings? He didn't get what he wanted right in that moment. Yeah, absolutely. I ignore it when they don't get their own way every single time they want. And they're going to have a tantrum over it. Yeah, it's okay to ignore that. If ignoring a tantrum damages your child, you got to take a close look in a mirror at what you're doing wrong. Because if they can't handle that, there is other stuff going on, guaranteed. Guaranteed. There's other stuff going on that's not good. So they can handle being ignored. And he knew me. He felt safe. He knew me. So which one would you rather be doing? You ignore the crazy, reward the calm. And they learn. They just stop having tantrums. Not right away, by the way, not right away. Toddlers, they can't control their emotions and their feelings. That's why all those therapy sessions are such garbage. But they will start to minimize. They'll minimize in duration, frequency, and intensity. They just start to slowly peter out. By the time they're 3 to 3.5, they shouldn't be having tantrums anymore. Because they can reason, they can stop and reason. If you've been doing this for the last 3 years or whatever, they just learn. It doesn't work. They learn. When they're 3.5, especially to 4, children only do what works. We don't. We're adults. We're stupid. We keep doing the same thing, expecting different results. I do it all the time. I'm 63 years old. I still do it. So one of my neighbors is walking her dog. Anyway, so yeah, but kids aren't like that. If something isn't working, they move on to what does. So make sure good behavior gets attention and that tantrum gets none. I have a mini little course, one of my toddler courses. It's one of my mini toddler courses. It's up above and it's on tantrum busting if you're interested. ASD. Oh, on the spectrum. I only do that in coaching. That's specialty. That's coaching. I don't get into that on here. I don't deal with anything like that. And I don't deal with, it's more of a specialty. So yeah, I deal with that in coaching if you're interested. You can check that out above. You asked to read your question. I get to what flips in front of me. They flip, they hold, then they flip. They hold, then they flip. So. Oh, does that work with ASD? Not necessarily. No, not necessarily. And that's not one session. ASD, that's autism spectrum disorder. That's not one session. The first session, we'll throw mud at the wall, see what works. I have to find out what has worked and what hasn't. When they were assessed, where they're at, where they are in the spectrum, what's going on, how are they socially, especially, what kind of parent you are, blah, blah, blah. Then we throw mud at the wall, and then the next session we see what's stuck, because we're just got to try things out. So can you please read my question? Well, I don't know where it is. So if you do it again, I'll look for it. Angel. Angel truth. Okay. Would excessive whining be considered a tantrum? No, no. Whining is not manipulation so much. It can be, but it can be, depends on the age, but also it becomes a habit. It's a learned behavior. If you've tolerated it, it will continue. Like if a child whines with me, I will say, no, you don't talk like that. You say, may I please have? And then you wait for them to talk nicely. But it's involved. It depends on the age too. Um, I don't like talking about whining because my methods are, I don't really love my methods with that and that they can seem mean. But in coaching, like I don't want to go into it, but in coaching, I go into a lot more detail about how you deal with whining. Depends on the age though. So it's not a simple answer. Believe it or not, whining seems simple, but it's not a simple answer. And it is a learned behavior. You've taught them, you will tolerate that. My kids only whined once. I'll tell you what they did. Funny story, actually. My son was fine. He's the older one. He's 5 years older. He was 5 years old and he'd been at a friend's house. And he came home and he would have heard this there. There would have been a reward for this, obviously. He said to me, I'm bored, in that snotty, whiny tone. I had never heard him talk like that before. And when he said it to me, I went like this. And he went, never mind, because he knew that I was going to deal with this. I said, oh, my sweet, precious angel, are you bored? And he's like, no, I'm not bored. I took him in the laundry room, filled up a mop bucket, and gave him a mop. He was never bored again. Funny thing is, 5 years later, the same thing happened with my daughter. She came home from a friend's house. I'm bored, in that snotty, whiny tone. And my son started laughing right away. So she mopped the floor and never said she was bored in that snotty, whiny tone ever again. It's something, if you tolerate, they'll keep doing it. So yeah, as soon as I looked at them, they were like, uh-oh. Because they never questioned me. They never were, I never got to discipline them. And I love having fun with it, like the mop bucket, laughing. And they're like, oh God, sorry, Mom, never mind. I'm not bored. I got millions of things to do. Too late. You already said it. Here's the mop. So yeah, I had fun with it. I never got to discipline them because they were never disrespectful. Why would they be? I was a leader. Set yourself up as a leader and they respect you. It's mutual. You respect each other. They would have been embarrassed to be rude to me. Like with my mom. If my mom ever looked at me like this, that was her like, wait a minute, you're out of line, kiddo. Oh, I hated it. I hated it. I looked up to her. Oops. Okay. So it just flipped again. I can't go back because I get dizzy. I got a kid on here. I can tell by the language. Okay. You're not going to like my answer. 3.5-year-old, how to address playing too rough, rolling, tackling dad, but when dad's done, it won't stop. It's a mixed message. Like, is being rough okay, or isn't it? So it was okay for the short term, but now you want it to stop. It's a mixed message. You've just taught him that it's okay to be rough, but then you want to teach him how to stop. He's only 3.5. I'm not pro wrestling, not pro, you know what I mean? I'm not, I never wrestled with my kids. My ex-husband never did. I don't like it because it can make being aggressive too easy for them. Now, a lot of my clients do it with their kids to have fun and they love doing it. And I will go with it. I'll use it. I'll say, look, wrestle with dad for 10 minutes a night. That's the rule for dad. He has to wrestle with the kids for 10 minutes a night because they love it. It's worked for them. I don't take it away from them, but I don't really encourage it. But yeah, it's a mixed message because then they go to school and they start roughhousing with kids and then they get in trouble and they can't figure it out. Nothing I do will work. Brittany. Oh, he says he wants to hurt him and make him sad. How old? I'm trying to go back, but I get dizzy when I go back because I've got bad, I'm old. I get bad vertigo. I can't go back. I just got dizzy. Said he wants to hurt him. Okay. How are your courses set up? Okay, my courses I just have 3 toddler courses. My 4th one is coming out tomorrow. If you want to get in on the 24-hour sale, the launching sale, instead of $29, it's $19. So that's for 24 hours, starts tomorrow, but you have to sign up. Go on the behavior board. You have to sign up for the newsletter to get that. But yeah, that's the bedtime battles one. I finally got it done. Can you believe it? I've been talking about that for like a year now. Anyway, I got that one done. But the courses are toddler ones, and then the big course, the boot camp, teaching you how to be a leader, 3 to 12-year-olds. Coaching is still only with teenagers, 13 plus. I can't quite figure out how to, because so much of what I do with teenagers is crisis work. I can never put that in a course anyway. So people, yeah. Anyway, so yeah, I'll probably get a teen course one day, and I'll just make it a general teenage course, how to set yourself up to sail through the teen years like I did. But it won't be anything about crisis. And I won't go into what crisis is. You can guess. It's often life and death stuff. So that will always just be coaching. But the big course is the boot camp, teaches you how to set yourself up as a leader, 3 to 12 years old. I'm going to read out, what was I thinking here? Just a sec. Oh, 4 stages of parenting. Now, this isn't the age of the kids so much as what you're like in these ages. So this isn't about the kids, it's about you. What type of parent you are in these 4 different stages with your children while you're parenting. The baby stage, 0 to 15 months. You're all nurturing, loving. Every time they cry, you pick them up. It's all that kind of stuff. You want to feed all their loving needs, all that kind of stuff. Then the toddler is 16 to 35 months. This is all just my own way I've done it. 16 to 35 months. You want to start teaching them right from wrong. And it's all through consistent corrective action. Okay, because they learn through repetition, not words. Then you go into the child phase, 3 to 12 years old. Now, my course is if you have a 3 to 12-year-old, which seems kind of ridiculous because a 3-year-old is very different from a 12-year-old, but you're not. You're the same parent. That is your leadership. That is when it's really in high gear. Is your leadership is 3 to 12 years old. You want them to want to please you because you're a leader. You're their mentor. They're looking to you for pretty much everything. Okay, and then they're self-disciplining and all that age when you're a good leader. So that you're the same kind of parent. You're a leader. Now it changes. They're 13 plus. Is you change. All of a sudden, you want to hand some of that leadership over to them. You want to let them make more mistakes because they learn through them, and don't criticize them for that. So it's okay. You want to just let them have more freedom and all that stuff. That's the teenage stage. So there's 4 different stages of your style of parenting depending on the age. But how does it work? Is it like a book? Oh, my course is an online course. You just go through all the different chapters, and there's the boot camp week by week. Every week is a different section. So here's week 1. Here's what you do in week 1. And it is all laid out for you. Do not jump ahead. There's no point. Everyone wants week 4. You can read it. I've got it all there. You can read the whole thing if you want, but then you go back and you go week to week. You can stretch it out to 6 to 7 weeks, but do not make it shorter. Don't. So yeah, everyone wants week 4, but you got to go through the first 3 weeks, especially. That's you're just training yourself how to be a leader. That's all. And it's not like a book. No, it's just step-by-step guide. I don't have a book. Maybe I will one day. Oh, shoot. I'm going to have to go. I've got a meeting tonight. So I have to go out and do it. Out in the rain. Makes me think he may need to be evaluated. Yeah, I can't comment on that. 2-year-old gets upset and attached to me in public, even if no one around. I don't understand why. You mean attachment stuff? I don't. Assessed for what? What would he be assessed for with that? I don't know. If you want to have your child assessed to a doctor, I never have anything to do with that. But yeah, I don't know what you mean by that. Yeah, I don't know why. I don't know why you're concerned about that. I don't understand. What's your fear? What are you worried about with that? Just sounds like a normal 2-year-old. They just do stuff. Don't try and make sense out of them. I'm going to read you my top 5 tips for parenting toddlers. Okay, and it's the last one that's for you. Number 1 is child-proof your home so you never have to say no. Number 2 is you set up a toy rotation system so they're never bored. Number 3 is you enter their world to connect with them. When you want to play with a little one, like a toddler, you don't go to the nail salon. You go lay on the ground, play games on the ground, go to the park and roll in the grass with them. You get down on their level, you play in their world. That's how you connect with them. That's sort of the start of your leadership. They look at you differently when you enter their world than if you try and expect them to enter yours. Too many parents expect children to find their inner adult and do what it's just ridiculous. Okay. Number 4 is stop with the mini therapy sessions. They're not about words. They're about actions. These mini discussing all their big feelings. People are actually doing this with toddlers. It's ridiculous. I've been watching this for years. I'm just like, are you kidding me? But I get those parents down the road as clients because I know what they're doing. I know the style they're doing, but it's It's really good for my business, but I'd rather that they didn't have to hire me. Okay, and number 5 is stop trying to figure them out. Toddlers are not figure-outable. Okay, stop. If you're really worried about something, go have them assessed. Otherwise, they're going to do crazy stuff. What about if they go like this and put poop on the wall? For some toddlers, that's completely normal. They're just discovering the world. If you're 2 years old, you've only been in the world for 2 years, and the first year you were a potato laying on a mattress. How much context can they have about the world? How much sense are they really going to make? Oh my God, he bangs his head on the floor. Doesn't he know? He's 2. He doesn't understand concussions, brain damage, hospitals. He doesn't understand that. He'll eventually, they don't think before they act, so they will keep hitting their head and then crying because they hurt themselves for a while. They'll eventually learn. Yeah, toddlers are crazy. Don't try and figure them out. They haven't developed sanity yet. Oh, shoot, I have to get going soon. I have to go out in the rain. Okay. I'm trying to read Shauna's here, but it looks like it's a continuation. It's getting so difficult to take him anywhere. I want to go left. He wants to go right. Well, how old is he? Is he 16, 6, 2? Well, the only reason he's going against what you want is because you're a pleaser parent. You're not a leader. They don't do that if you're a leader. They just don't. So work on your parenting. But anyway, that's my general advice, but I don't know how old he is. How to correct talking back and attitude in a 4-year-old. That's learned behavior. You've learned it by your parenting. You've taught him how to do that. You've taught him that you'll accept that. Now, remember, we're never fixing kids. We're fixing and teaching parents here. If you were a leader, it just doesn't happen. They just don't. They want to please a leader. They look up to you. They respect you. So work on yourself. It's not about the kids. It's about you. They are a product of your parenting. Their behavior is 100% a direct result of your parenting or lack of leadership. If you're a leader, they don't act out. People used to say to me, "Oh, you're so lucky. You got the easiest kids in the world." And people who knew me, I put in the work. I earned that. I set myself up as a leader. They didn't come out of the womb like that. Actually, my daughter kind of did. She was super easy. But yeah, my son had tantrums in that. But that was me. I did that. I had another friend who also knew how to be a leader. And we used to say it kind of bothered us that people kept telling us how lucky we were. We got such easy kids. But none of the teachers ever said that. They knew we put in the work. So yeah, it's all on you. All on you, which is the best news you can get. You can only change yourself anyway. You can totally control what you do and say. So work on it. My course will teach you how to set yourself up as a leader. It's the boot camp. It's up above in the link. Everything I have is up there. So well, not everything I have in the world, but everything I have in my business is up there. So anyway, I got to get going. I got to go out in the rain and go to this function tonight. I hate functions, and it's business casual. I don't dress up. I'm going to be wearing leggings and my jean jacket. I don't dress up. It's against my religion. Anyway, so we'll see you tomorrow. Oh, no, tomorrow night is Tuesday night. So I have my regularly scheduled live at 7 p.m. Vancouver time. So I'll be back tomorrow night at 7. If you, I think I saw you on there. If you sent me that beautiful email, I'm not ignoring you. It was very emotional. And I just wanted to say thank you. And I will be getting back to you, but I'll be talking to you soon again anyway. It's one of my clients. I get the most beautiful emails and they really throw me off. I read it at the gym and I got all emotional and I'm standing in front of the weights and I'm just about crying. Anyway, so yeah, I thought I saw your name pop up. I'm not ignoring you. I just haven't got back to you anyway, but I did read it. It was just beautiful. So thanks so much. Anyway, I'll talk to you again tomorrow night at 7 p.m. Vancouver time. Bye now.